Hi everybody, it's Rolex here, and today it's going to be a guide, I guess, for how I level my character to end game. From level 1 to level about 60. The fastest probably level 59 on my blood mage. So I will put a picture on top of it or something, but that's pretty much just how I do it, like within 5 hours. And I think you can push it a little bit faster if you are more efficient and also more lucky with the layout. In this video, I'm gonna go over the gear that you have to prepare for it, and I think this is probably one of the best setup that you can have. The other setup that I've seen was Spark with the Widow Hail, but I'm not really into like playing spellcaster, so I decided to just play Pillar the Cage God, which is a very popular one. So this is the setup that I have. This is, I think it's acceptable for the price that you can kind of get these items for not cheap, but they're not expensive if you're gonna play a lot of the character, like 5-6 characters within the late. I think this is a good thing that you can potentially get, like early on, or farming to get early on if you are planning to get the next character going. So it's very static, I think, pretty similar stuff that a lot of people would have made, I guess. So the first one, this one is my preference. Basically, it just strength and rage on melee hit, because you're gonna use Pillar of the Cage God. Now, if you can't get the corruption with the lightning damage, because this thing is pretty rare, and I'm well aware that if you're trying to get the highest DPS with the empty socket or something like that, you're gonna have like 2 divines or something. It's like 3 divines. I recommend you don't need to get any of those, right? Like, you can just use 3 sockets and then just socket in, like 2 lightning and 1 cold, so you have a little bit of cold damage in order to freeze thing early on, because be able to freeze thing, it's just insanely good early on, especially in Act 1, because Act 1, your character is, even though your character is pretty strong, be able to freeze thing is still gonna make you a little bit more tankier. So that's the main item that you will have to get. But if you have already made a character to end game, clearly killing all pinnacles or something like that, you are gonna have some currency to buy all these gear. I think these are pretty cheap to get. This one I corrupted myself, so I get 20% lightning resistant. They're pretty good, but you can get the 2% movement speed as well. But I just don't really care that much about 2% attack, like movement speed. But 20% lightning resistance is better than another socket, which means gonna have a 5% all resistance. So that's pretty good to have. And the body armor, Fox Shade. So you're gonna need 10 dexterity for this, and if you are playing a class that is not a hybrid or a dex related class at all, you won't be able to use this. So what you can do is you get an amulet. So amulet like this at level 2. You can just gamble, if you have a lot of gold, you can just gamble to get the amulet with at least like 2 attributes or 3 attributes like this, 2 or 3 decks, so that you can wear all of your gear, because it's required 10 decks here, 10 decks here. So that means you will need to get enough dexterity to wear them. And the belts, of course, we're using Mercenary. I think this one is kind of bad, but you can get like more than 50 strength from the Mercenary. But I'm just not really like willing to go buy in the market. And then the ring, you can go for whatever ring that you can gamble, and try to corrupt them for strength on the enchant. And then the another one is Blackheart for corruption for strength as well. So you can use Blackheart, because Blackheart is not bad early on, but you're gonna swap it out pretty quick. And as you can see here, you will swap out for Pokerkulin. I don't know what's how to pronounce it, but it's fine. And the best corruption on this would probably be strength, because strength will give you like just damage increase. But intelligence is also good because it's increase your area so that you can have a more coverage on your Herald Ice Explosion. And then also the glove level 1, you can use anything for level 1, like this one as well. But I don't like this one because it's just set your crit for the weapon at 8% instead of 10% that you would normally have on Pillar Cage Guard. So that's why I don't use it. But if you want to use it, it's fine, you can use it as well. But I just prefer, you know, rare globes because you can get like resistance and stuff like that. I don't have it, but you know, it's fine, right? So you're just looking for flat damage and some resistance, and then you can just socket more resistance onto it as well. But you're not gonna do it because at level 6 you are able to use the Jarn Grave, whatever that name is, that allow you to use melee skills with strength requirement instead of any other thing. So that means after you get this globes, you basically just focusing on strength. And at level 6 you can also wear Grey Make as well, so you have 50 strength. That's insane, that's a lot of strength. This will wear off at around level 27, 30 or something like that. So at level 30 I would just swap to Through Steel for Onslaught. So Onslaught give you insane amount of movement speed, 10% movement speed on a helmet. This helmet is really good. And then you can just wear this, right, up to level 40 or 45 or whatever that you think you are doing less damage, and you can kind of like swap gear. I feel like my damage lagging around level 22, so I swap, you know, to get a new ring. I swap with this one, but for Kirkland it's going to be a mandatory because you don't want to be dealing with a lot of monsters. You want to just blast them and get through the campaign as quick as possible. So if you want to get a swap for boss, you can do that, but it's kind of like, yeah, there's too much to manage to do that. So you just wear this for the rest of the campaign. It gives you decent enough strength and decent enough intelligence as my corruption, and a little bit of resistance, which is pretty good. That's pretty much it. And about level 40 you're gonna feel like you are lagging in terms of defense. Then you are putting in a new body armor because you are okay to sacrifice a little bit of movement speed at that point, and then get more defensive. So this is what I've been using, but also I want to get a new body armor as well, and also some upgrades for the next character that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it for the showcase. I don't know what I'm gonna make out of it, but I'm probably gonna make it another Mercenary. I think maybe I'm doing Witch Hunter at this point because I haven't done Witch Hunter. That's pretty much it. So the amulet, you are going to want to use this one. If you could get 1.2 meter instead of 1.1 like I have here, it would be better. But this one I just corrupted myself because I need to get the anointment as well. So I anoint Blur for 4% movement speed and 10 dexterity. If you are playing Ranger, you don't need that, because if you're playing Ranger, you can just pick this, which means it's kind of pointless to have this setup on Ranger. So you have to get another setup for something else, I guess, for a little bit more movement speed on your amulet if you are a Ranger. But this is just like overall better because you are not Ranger most of the time, because like 5 out of 6 are not Rangers. And then the G-Will socket, because you are going to have a lot of socket. So what you're prioritizing, so I basically just get, you know, like strength, pretty much just get a corruption for strength or dexterity, as I have some of these, and movement speed. So the first one is gain 1 rage on melee hit, so it's not that important, but it will become more important later on when you are not using rage gem. But pretty much like you always using rage gem on my setup. I always use rage gem for the main attack, and then you get movement speed and strength, so pretty much like everything else doesn't matter. You can kind of just look like glossing over to the whole market of Jewel, and just get the corrupted one with 10 strength or 10 dexterity or 10 intelligence, doesn't matter, just get one of those and you're fine. And that's the ring at level 41, so you find yourself in a drop off, like a big drop off around level 40 again. And at that time you can use a new ring and also getting a globes as well, a new globes, because at that point you don't need to stack as much strength, so you were probably around like running around like 250 strength at that point, so you can just spread out your stat to get more dexterity and more intelligence, so that you can use your skill, like effectively don't need these globes. And then you can just get whatever like better globes that give you a lot more damage and a lot more attack speed. So if you are rich, basically you have a lot of currencies that you can spend, you can use some of these items, right? You can use Ingenuity at level 55, so this is gonna be like at the end of your campaign run, and also Hand of Wisdom and Action at the end of your campaign run, but basically like level 52 here, and the ring at level 52 here. So these are like premium items that you would want to use if you have currency for it, but you don't need this. I've been running all of my character without it. You're gonna have around like 30% or 40% total resistance, like like all resistance about that. You're not gonna have like full resistance, you're not gonna have 75% at the end of the campaign, and when you finish the campaign it's gonna be around level 59 to level 61 at the latest. And then you can just get your gear. Basically just swap your character into the character that you would want to play, or you can keep playing this setup until like level 70 or like 80 as well, because you're still gonna scale a lot with the Pillar of the Cage God. But at that time you might not need to get flat damage on the pillar anymore. You probably want attack speed, you probably want something like 12%, or along the line of like playing a stat stack at that time. Okay, so that basically the gear, and then I'll show you the gameplay and how I choose to run my my campaign, the way I run my campaign, and how I just pick up points and stuff like that. So the party building, I don't know if I'm gonna put for like all the 6 classes. It's probably gonna be similar enough that I will put out the template for it. Just the point that you will want to get, but there will not be like a like in detail to like passives and stuff like that. I'm just gonna go over just the general passive that you would want to get, but that's pretty much it. And then just go over the gameplay, and then I'll just cut to the montage, and I think the more notable one that I would do in the campaign, so that it will go a little bit faster than you would normally go, and just how I run my campaign in general.